Hi, everybody. I am Leslie Kuster, and welcome to She Rises again. I am the best-selling author of Seven Keys to Seven Figures, and I'm also the CEO of Back from Bali. Back from Bali is an e-commerce brand that I built up, which actually gave me the reason for writing the book that I did to help other women entrepreneurs. So here is the URL for Back from Bali. And also, I am happy to give you away my best-selling resource guide from my website. So just head over to lesliekuster.com. The resource guide is like me opening up all my contacts and sharing with you like best podcasts and best books and even some coaches that I recommend. So definitely check that out as well. So I am so happy you're here again, and we have a great topic. And our topic today is on women in e-commerce. And so I would like to introduce our guest, which is Dawn Sinkule today. And I just want to tell you a little bit about her. So Dawn is the creator of Digital Dawn. I love that. It is an award-winning female-owned marketing agency for million-dollar e-commerce brands. And she brings to her clients pricing strategies like connections with manufacturers, distribution, and marketing expertise, which makes her approach really, really unique in the marketing world. She also has an MBA, and she is a mom of 2 humans and 3 fur babies. And she is just all around an e-com marketing expert. And with that, I would love to bring on to the stage Dawn. Dawn, thank you for being here. I'm so happy
Yes,
you're
thank
here.
you so much, Leslie. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you. And I just want to tell everybody also a bit of backstory of how I even know you, which
Right.
is, a few years ago, as I said, I have an e-commerce brand. My brand is Back from Bali. I just put it up again here. And Back from Bali is a women's clothing company. And just like all businesses, and in particular e-commerce businesses, and in particularly businesses with inventory, which is what I have, clothing, getting into the net profit and making money and all of that is really, really tough. And
Right.
so back then, a few years ago, I reached out to some people and I got referred to you to help me to
Yeah.
basically make my business more profitable, right?
Right. Exactly. It's funny how the internet world is such a small space, right? It's not that big after all. And it was great. Yeah. And so you came onto my podcast and now here I am on yours. And I'm just really happy to have this conversation today because I think there's so much value in talking about women in e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly. And before we get into the nitty gritty, I really love to, I know you were in corporate before. I know you
Yeah.
worked in corporations, all that, you have your MBA. So at
Yeah.
some point you made a switch.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what your impetus was to start your own business? What
Yeah.
happened in your life? Because it always is something that happens in your
Uh-huh.
life, right?
Yep.
That made you want to start it.
Yeah, that's great. I worked for a corporate retailer for 17 years in my prior life, and I was climbing the corporate ladder and doing all the things that, I thought we were supposed to be doing to continue to move forward in our corporate careers. And I had 2 small young children at the time, and I was working somewhere between 60 and 80 hours a week, and I wasn't seeing them very often. And there was just a lot of change that was taking place within the organization. And I started to feel like there's got to be more to this than just working this hard for somebody else. And I know it sounds sort of cliche of the working, 80 hours someplace else where you could work 40 hours for yourself or whatever that phrase is. And so
Yeah,
I,
that's the
you know, I
phrase for
kept kind of
entrepreneurs.
sitting on that and thinking, I'm pretty good at this. I could probably, do this on my own. And I really never thought that it was ever going to happen because after 17 years, it's pretty hard to all of a sudden just say, oh, I want to jump and do this by myself. But an opportunity presented itself and I was able to leave with a really nice sort of umbrella package where I didn't have to force myself to go find a new job. And I was able to sort of think about what it was that I really wanted to do. And I always have had a lot of small business owners ask me questions about, what would you do if this was your business? Or, what does this big company do? And how do they handle situations? And I thought, I could probably get into some consulting and start doing some consulting for small businesses. And so that was really sort of what happened, and kind of owning my own time and being able to run my own business. But also really being able to take the skills that I learned in this big company and be able to, provide, insights, I guess, more than anything, to small business owners. And that's really where it started. And so I started consulting. I started doing, business, sort of like, I don't know, business in a box sort of things, where we would, get pricing and strategy and different things set up. And it was great. But then what I realized was a lot of these small business owners don't have anybody to help them actually execute on the strategies that we would put together. And so I kept getting asked, do you have anybody that can do this for me? Do you know of anybody? And I thought, well, why don't I hire some people? Why don't I get a team to start doing this? And then 11 years later, here we are with Digital Dawn, the marketing agency that I have built from the ground up. And we really started focusing primarily in the online marketing space, because I knew that was an opportunity, back in 2015, 2016, where meta ads were really gangbusters and you could really make some big business, and it was just starting to become a thing for a lot of business owners. And so I kind of went all in on the marketing side of e-commerce and built this agency that has done really well for me and done really well for my clients. And I've got a great team that's been with me from the get-go, a lot of them. And so here we are now having, this conversation. And it's kind of funny that, hindsight, if you'd asked me 20 years ago, would this be something I would be doing today? I would have said, never. I'm never going to own my own business. There's no way I'm going to do it. And I'm certainly not going to be helping other people with theirs. That's crazy. But here we are, and I love it. And it's been so rewarding. And I've just loved working with e-com women business owners and being able to help support them and see the amazing things that you can do in the online space.
Yeah, I love that so much. So does that mean you work with mostly women who have businesses that are product-based businesses?
Yeah, I think I'm not, particular with the people that I work with. We market to, and I recommend this for all people, you need to market to a niche, right? And kind of outwardly, market to the people that you're trying to attract. And so e-commerce business owners that are female are my ideal clients. I have men e-commerce business owners. I have women who do coaching and, course creation and things like that. But my area of expertise is in e-commerce specifically. That's what I have done my entire life. And so that's where I'm really passionate and where I really feel like there's a lot of nuances and challenges in that space that you don't necessarily see in some of the coaching or course areas, things like that. So yeah. Mostly women I love to work with, but I love men too. No anti-men here.
Everybody there. Yeah, well, I know you helped me a lot, and
Oh, yeah.
no, you did. You helped me a lot because, listen, I have always been someone in running my business that the net profit is really what's most important to me. And that,
Yeah.
for everybody, just understand there's the top line, right? I mean, this is really basic. There's your top line revenue, what you're bringing in each year, which everyone kind of likes to brag about, all right? Because it
Absolutely,
sounds
right?
like six
Yeah.
figures, seven
Yeah.
figures, eight
Yeah.
figures. Oh, well. But
Yeah.
then you run down, you have your, your COGS, your cost of doing, of running your
Yeah.
business,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then you have kind of your operation, your expenses that you have to that you use to run your business. And at the very bottom, you actually have the money that's in your pocket, right?
Right.
And
Hopefully so, right?
that
Yeah.
was something that was getting lower and lower for me, and still something that I struggle with. That's always a constant. Can you talk about that a
Sure.
bit?
Sure. Yeah, I think that the profitability piece of an e-commerce business is really one of the biggest challenges, because like you said, you can make 6, 7, 8 figures at the top line and you can really, brag about that and be successful. But at the end of the day, it's really about how much money you're bringing home, which is that bottom line. And a lot of people get sort of in this cycle of not being able to get a really good bottom line because their cost of goods sold is really high, or their operating expenses are very high. And when you throw marketing on top of that and you're going out and trying to acquire new customers through marketing avenues, that eats into some of that profit and some of that bottom line income that's there. And a lot of people don't know what their numbers should be. They don't know what numbers they're supposed to be looking at. And so they kind of take a look at that top line and they say, hey, I'm making $1 million. I can spend, $500,000 to, market to my new clients or customers and I'll be fine. When the reality is, not so much, right? Or not always, I should say. And so it's really important, I think, particularly as you start looking out into the marketing space and you're looking at acquiring new customers, you really have to understand your financial impact and the financial P&L sheet that you've got before you even start marketing. How much can you spend to acquire a customer? What does that do to your bottom line? And how is that going to overall work into the holistic picture of how profitable you're going to be in that business? Because you don't want to be stuck at the end of the day not having any cash flow to buy new inventory or not having any cash to be able to live your life, right? Or anything along those lines. And so I think it's something that before we start working with clients, we really try to take a look at their overall profit margins and the health of their business from a financial perspective before we start doing the marketing. Because I've seen, unfortunately, so many business owners have gotten themselves into situations where it just is the cycle of, craziness. And they're kind of always behind the 8 ball with the money situation. And so I've learned over time that you got to know those numbers and you've got to understand that really, really well before you even start in the marketing space.
Yeah, that is so important. And that is certainly when I first started my business and for
Yeah.
the many years of starting my business, I had no idea about this. I had no idea how to read an income statement, why I needed one, all of that.
Yeah.
And as my business has grown, it has become really my guiding light. And I love it. I use xero.com. That's
Yep.
my bookkeeping service that I use. I have a professional bookkeeper.
Yep.
And because just like you're saying, our numbers speak. They actually, I think they're a language for us. And they were really telling ourselves, our business, ourselves, what is working and what isn't working and where the red flags are. And a lot of women are scared of their income statement, or they don't want to deal with it, or they're not, quote, money people. I hear that, I'm not a money person, all of those things. But this is the crux of it. So how do you teach women to do that? What do you do when you're working with someone? Yeah.
Good question. And I think this is one of the things that I'm kind of a straight shooter. And I always like to tell people, if you don't understand your numbers, then are you really running a business or do you just have a hobby? Right. And I think it's really important that you're not scared of it. Right. And that you find someone who does understand it and you ask the right questions, or you read books, or you get to resources, or, at this point you can Google just about anything and look anything up on YouTube to get the basics down. Right. But when we start working with someone, I will always ask them, even in the preview sort of, hey, do we even think we can work together kind of thing? Tell me a little bit about your margins. And I, unfortunately, have been surprised over the years of how many business owners, men and women, how many business owners cannot tell me what their profit margins are, or they do not know what the net income is, or they don't understand what they've had at the end of the day, or they don't know what their COGS are, or they don't know what they're spending to acquire a customer, or any of the numbers, because I don't know that everybody just understands how it all works together. And I think once you're educated on that piece of it, and it really is about building out a really strong, P&L to have that sort of visual that you can look at every month. And if you don't have that, have a spreadsheet, have like Xero is a really good company because it's not overly expensive, right? And it kind of pulls all your, stuff in for you, all of your numbers for you. It creates a nice, report. You can have someone figure it out for you, but having something that is showing all of your numbers and then having somebody really go through that with you and help you understand. So we kind of do that even when we do the first initial, hey, how can we start working together? I always ask those questions. And if they don't really know, then I kind of, I don't know, let's see if we can dig into this a little bit more together, if I think there's potential there. And then really just going through the P&L with somebody when we get started and saying, okay, based on what you're showing me here, this is how much money we have to spend in order to acquire a customer for you and for you to still be profitable. And really just walking through it. And a lot of times it's like, these light bulb moments kind of go off and it's like, oh my gosh, I have more money than I thought I could to spend, or no, I don't. And I've got to talk to my manufacturer. I've got to think about shipping, or I've got to think about all of these other elements that play into that cost that, people always say to me, well, what does that have to do with marketing? Like, that's not marketing. And I said, yes, it is very much marketing, because if you don't understand that part of your business, you can get all the clients in the world and you're going to be bankrupt. So it's really, really important. And that's kind of how we start with it, is just asking general questions. I just like to understand what people do and don't know about their business. And then we kind of go through, let me see your numbers. Let me see in the back end what you're actually doing. Let's put some, key performance indicators together. Let's understand what the numbers are telling us on how much we can spend and what we can do to acquire new customers. And then we start from there. And then the marketing strategy starts. Because then you say, okay, well, I know I have to get, a 2x return on my Facebook ads, or I have to get a 3x return, whatever that number is, to be profitable for my business. Okay, well, then the strategy all depends on what that number needs to be. How much can you spend? What types of marketing do we do? What platforms do we go on to? What types of, ads do we do? Do we do email? Do we do a combination of both? So it just kind of is this, sort of snowball effect, but it really starts at the very beginning with understanding those numbers and understanding how that works before we do the marketing strategy piece. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, it's so unbelievably important. And I remember working with you, because I now remember how I found you. It was through Profit First. It was
yes,
Profit
yes.
First is a way of organizing one's money in buckets, so that they have money to spend on taxes and to pay yourself and all those things. And that is how you helped me. There was debt that I had, and I actually remember what you focused on with me, and that was reducing my excess inventory. I remember that is really what you dived in, because without having those numbers again and really seeing, what those operating expenses are, how much you're paying for shipping, all of that, we can't find where the problems are.
Right.
And in my case, a lot of times the problems are in excess inventory. There's, so if you can sell it off, if you could reduce it, if you could get rid of it, if you could donate it, put it to charity, then you have more money to put into marketing and other more fun kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Profit First model is one that is amazing, right? And it's an important part. I use it, personally. I know lots of people and business owners. Obviously, you've written books about it, and you're all sorts of things that it just kind of helps solidify how easy the money can be if you set it up correctly, right? And it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be something that you fear. Just use the resources and the tools. And this happens to be a methodology that I really like, but it is something that I think for a lot of business owners, they just don't know what to do. And so focusing on, one of the areas, in your case, the excess inventory and other things that were there, that helps free up that cash flow. And it helps, to your point, make, opportunities for things that are more fun, right? And it gives you the opportunity to play around and do some cool stuff or try new things, or, whatever it might be. And understanding the numbers hopefully will take the stress off of you as a business owner, because you do understand it and you do know where things are, and you can make a plan to fix it, right? And if it's not where it needs to be, okay, that's all right. A lot of us have, debt. A lot of us have done things that we wish we wouldn't have done. A lot of us have bought and made and done and said, oh my gosh, that was a big mistake. But you don't learn that unless you know your numbers. And so it's really important for you to have that sort of viewpoint so that you can, fix it if needed, or have fun if there's excess,
So e-commerce, all right?
Yes.
E-commerce.
Okay.
I've myself have been in e-commerce selling online for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm going on 12, 13, 14 years, I think. A lot of changes.
Mhm.
It definitely used to be very much men. There was, and men in many ways still kind of rule the e-commerce training world, I notice quite a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and e-commerce has changed so much, and also with what happened a few years ago, I hate mentioning that word.
Yeah.
Um, there has been so much more competition, but people
Uh-huh.
coming online and all that. So, can you speak a little bit about
Yeah.
e-commerce, women in e-commerce, what's going on, what you suggest?
Yeah. The interesting part is that I feel like the marketing and the outward training for e-commerce is still very heavily male dominated, right? And I think if you were to Google or look, you will see a lot of great, marketers, but they're in that young male space. But if you look behind the scenes, you will see a lot of the online e-com business owners are females, right? And they're the ones who in 2020, when you know what hit the fan, needed to get online and do something quickly to help save either their brick and mortar businesses or to save the ability to, get stuff from point A to point B, whatever that was, they had to get online quick. And I think we've got a lot of e-commerce female business owners that are driving sort of this core fabric of the e-commerce space right now. And I love seeing female business owners running ecom. I just would love to see a lot of female agency owners and a lot of female marketing people coming out, which they are. There's a lot of great ones. You just have to go and find them, right? But it is a space for me where I think, a lot of people ask, is it overcrowded now? Have you seen, are there too many people in this space? And you've got to remember, just even on the Meta platforms, there's like 3 billion people that use that platform. And if you think about all the businesses out there, there's more than enough for all of us to continue to sell our products online and continue to market and not even feel that competition yet. And I think that the opportunities are going to be even bigger and better for e-commerce over the next 5 years. The industry is trending very steeply, very high, very hockey stick sort of growth. And I think women are going to be at the crux of this sort of online revolution. I think we already are, I think we're already starting to see it. I just don't know that we're necessarily seeing it in the marketing space, right? I think we're seeing it in the fabric of the e-commerce space, but not so much in, a lot of women don't want to show up online. A lot of women don't want to put their faces out there. A lot of women don't want to be their brand, or they're nervous about being their brand. And that's a whole nother podcast we could talk about another time. But
I would like to talk about that a little bit, because
yeah,
visibility is so important, isn't it,
it is.
for your brand?
It is. And I think so many people now more than ever want to buy from brands that they know and they like and they trust those people. And I think the only way for people to understand your brand is to see you as the brand owner and to tell your story and to share your experience of good, bad, and ugly. Tell the story of why you've come to where you are. Tell the story of why you created the brand. Tell and give, behind the scenes sort of things. And people want to see that and they love that. And I don't think that you need to be super polished and have all the high production value. And I don't think you need to worry about always being in the perfect setting, in the perfect place, in the perfect videos, and because that's not reality. And people know that, and they just want to understand who you are as a business owner. What is it that you're selling? And are you legit? Like, can I trust you with my money? Is the product that you're going to give me really good? And let me see you, or let me see somebody else that has this product, use it and show it and see that, yeah, it is really cool. I mean, just 10 minutes with a business owner online, and I've seen people do amazing things in sales that they've never done before, just because they got on and started showing their products. And I think a lot of times women are like, oh, but my hair's not done, or I don't have the perfect camera, or I don't have the perfect lighting, or it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I mean, people just want to say, oh yeah, there is a person behind that brand. There is somebody out there that's really struggling and making and working and, just fretting over every detail of their business. I want to support small business owners. And, you've got to be able to show your face and show us your product in order for that to be able to, be something that people want to, continue to purchase from you. And then I think a lot of people too, don't necessarily know who to trust in this space. And so having, a face to the brand, it's super important in my opinion. So yeah,
Yeah.
get your face out there.
Yeah, this is actually key, and this is something I really believe has switched over from, let's say, 5 years ago in e-commerce, where the videos were more perfect or whatever, professional. Even me, okay, I'm in women's clothing, and I was using very kind of high fashion models, where I'm
Yeah.
switching right now to much more like real women, older women,
Yeah.
or women,
Yeah.
size women, whatever, different
Right.
shapes.
Right.
Also using an iPhone to do our videos instead of a
Totally. Right.
professional. All these things because of what you just said. People want something real and authentic. And the problem though is, and it was my own problem too, I'll just share it, is it was so scary going online
Totally.
and being the face. I mean, the first time I did a video, I mean, it was horrifying, and yes, it is about what did my hair look like? What did my face look like?
Mhm.
Do you look old? Do you look young? Do you look this or that?
Right.
And so all I can say about that to anybody listening is it's really helpful to take a course because
Yes.
I did. I took a really easy course on being on video, and you get to practice and post it to like a private group and all of that.
Totally. Right.
Just start doing it, because this is the future, I really believe, of e-commerce, of
Mhm.
being the brand and actually communicating yourself, you as the brand, or as you said, Dawn, at least hiring someone else who can also do
Right.
those videos for you or pictures or whatever too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely. And I think too, as we start to see, economic changes, and it's not anything political, but as the economy starts to change over the next several years, people are going to want to really understand where their money's going. And they're going to really want to understand who is the person behind the business and what are they supporting and what are their beliefs and what are they, what do they stand for? And that's really hard to get from a really polished, still picture of a young gal that doesn't represent your brand, or an older gal that doesn't represent your brand, or whatever. And I think people will really have more, connection to you as a business owner, and will be more loyal to you as a repeat customer if they can see you and understand what you're all about. And I think just having a founder's video, or a why did I start my business video, or something, even just that simple. I know it sounds simple and it's scary, but just even something telling your story of why you got into this. A lot of times female business owners, e-com business owners, start their businesses because they're fixing a problem that they couldn't see or solve in the market themselves. So they created this thing to fix the problem. And I always am like, this is an amazing story. This is the story everybody wants to hear. So just, kind of like do it, get out there and get on video. It's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
It
Exactly.
is. It is.
So yeah, I love this, and this visibility part of it is really, really, really important, and becoming the brand, becoming
Yeah.
you, and sharing who you are and everything. And
Right.
I see the changes out there. So yes, there's enough room. Is that right? You said that
Totally.
before. So
Completely. Yep.
anyone listening to this who is maybe starting a product-based business, and they're starting to sell online, uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's room out there. They can do it.
Oh, for sure. I think that there is endless possibilities, and the endless possibilities can be both really positive and it can be really scary, because a lot of times you don't know where to start and you don't know who you're selling to. And I think if I could give one piece of advice to people just starting, it is really know who your ideal audience or your ideal customer really is. And I think that's one of the things that gets lost in the online space, is that you try to market to everybody on every platform all the time. And then you see women getting burned out, or they're trying to be on all these platforms and they're doing nothing but creating video, or thinking they're needing to create video. And it just becomes this cycle. And what I would tell people is just take a step back and say, if I was going to sell 100 bits of my product, or 100, units of my product, who would be the first 100 people I would like to sell to, and where do they hang out online? Like, are they in Facebook groups? Are they on Instagram? Do I see them on LinkedIn? Are they on TikTok? Like, where in the social space are those people hanging out? And then create that message for those people specifically. Get online and talk to that person.
Yeah.
You will sell it. You will sell it.
And most likely, sometimes we don't really know who our ideal customer is. Like, we just have a paper in front of us, and we're just thinking, well, who is the ideal customer? Well, guess what? It's probably you. All right. It probably that's how I started.
Yeah.
I had no idea who my ideal customer was. I sell women's clothing. Well, that could be all women, right? But I started to niche it down to, well, maybe they're me, maybe, and that's how you sort of build it. So if you get stuck on that question, think about what you want. And
you're so right. You're so right. Most of the time we are our own clients, right? Or our own customers. We've created this for ourselves and we just want to sell it to other people like us, right? And in the marketing space, I'm the same thing. I want to market to other women who are my age doing e-commerce things that are, and so I need to remember to speak to women that are doing the same things that I want to market to, and just having that language and that ability. But as far as space goes, there is unlimited opportunity. And I still think we have not even begun to scratch the surface. I think AI is going to change the way that we do business. I think that the online space is going to change a lot. I think women in e-commerce is going to just see a huge surge over the next 5 years. And I'm really excited about it. And I think that the, opportunities are endless at this point, and there's tons and tons of space and places to be able to sell for sure.
And I just would like to add, because, I primarily sell on Amazon, and a lot of, you also hear so much competition and all that. Amazon is a beast, they call it. Okay. Yeah. And you need a lot of skills now to sell on Amazon. I will tell you that it's really important, if anyone is listening and interested in getting and making that one of your platforms that you're selling on, that you do hire coaches and advisors who understand that platform, the Amazon platform. But is there room on the Amazon platform? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that, Amazon and Etsy and, TikTok even has become this massive platform. I mean, there are so many areas where we haven't even scratched the surface. And I think Amazon is one of them. Yes, there is, thousands and thousands of people on Amazon, but that platform just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and easier and more user-friendly, and people just go to it because you can get your product. I just ordered something this morning and it's already here this afternoon. So it's crazy, right? And so the convenience of it, people are not going to stop using it. And whether you agree or disagree with the Amazon platform, people are still using it because it's convenient. And there's nothing else like it at this point. And so I think you're absolutely right, though, Leslie. You have to have someone who understands that platform, because it is different than selling on Meta or selling through ads or selling through things. There's a lot of nuances with inventory and nuances with, keywords and sales, and, the profit margin there does change a bit too. There's their fee structure, and you just need to understand all of that before you just go head on. So yeah, but lots of room.
Absolutely. Wonderful. All right, we're going to wrap up now. And so can you share how people could find you, if there's anything you have coming up that you want to talk about? And I'm just going to show where this is up on the screen right now is your website.
Yeah, digitaldawnagency.com is where you can learn more about how we help support and learn about you and your business. If you're interested, we do free strategy sessions. We do free audits for your Facebook account, for any ads that you have going on, as well as, taking a look at your website and seeing if there's some things we could help you do to convert better. You can also find me over on Instagram as well. And my Instagram is also digital_Dawn Agency. And I'm sure we'll have that in the notes and things too. And we do a lot of fun stuff over there. So we'll be having some webinars coming up in Q2 and getting some things ready for how to think about Q4 in the e-com space, because you really should be doing Q4 planning in Q2. And we'll be having some webinars around some of that stuff. So watch for more to come.
Oh, I love that. And I love how practical you are. You're down to earth numbers.
Thanks.
Let's make some money, women. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Some money. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for listening. If you are interested in being a guest, do contact me as well. Just contact me. You can email me at leslie@lesliekuster.com. And I look forward to seeing you on the next She Rises. Thank you.